Hello again, brothers and sisters. Here today to bring up some interesting stuff. My voice is in and out, so bear with me. But, I feel like there's a misconception that science needs to be separated when it comes to Christianity. But actually, they all go together. And I'm going to be showing you guys some proof at the end regarding a lot of my findings, things that have been shown since the beginning. But this one is just going to be directed, this video, on a Bible verse that was given to me this week. And it was pretty awesome. So the Lord has warned his prophets several times before. And what's interesting here is that the etymology of the word science actually means to know or knowledge, which would be really interesting because the Lord said that knowledge would increase. So in reality, the Lord was telling us that science would increase. And if this isn't the end of days with science and technology, then I just don't know what is. Also, I want to talk about something very interesting. This is probably not for everyone, but a group of people that will see a deception, okay? The Lord said to pray that we're not deceived. So obviously here, there's going to be an extreme deception coming up. And this deception is not going to be one angle. I hear a lot of Christians saying that, it's the alien deception and stuff like that. I mean, who knows? Probably. But this deception is going to be something that completely comes from every angle. We're talking in every sense of the way. Okay, everything we've ever known. And the reason for this is because when you look into the origins of things, you'll see that they all came from one root. And that root is God. So that God made all things and he saw that they were good. Okay? So what did Satan do? He took it and he perverted it. He mirrored it and perverted it. So what we see here is a bunch of half-truths, half-lies, a little here, a little there. But the spirit of truth is what's going to guide us into truth. Technology and science are definitely at their peak in civilization today. So I think it's really important to touch base on these things. All these scientists and philosophers got their ideas from scriptures and from words from the prophets' mouths that science or whatever spirit is behind science has taken and distorted the truth. Now, I'm going to show you some stuff at the end regarding this. I'm not really good at explaining things. That's why I like to show my proof at the end. But it's just a compilation of a bunch of information. So it's kind of hard to get out through one mouth. But the whole gist of this Bible verse that I'm about to show is that the Lord has the utmost control of every law. We know there's laws to everything. Laws to science, laws to math, laws to nature. All these things in the palm of his hand. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Okay, guys, we're on 2 Peter 3. It says, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And it says, nevertheless, we, in according to his promise, look for the new heavens and new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. So initial thoughts, I saw the word elements, and I was like, okay. When I saw dissolving and melting elements, I went in deeper, and I found out some very interesting stuff. Okay, so I'm in Blue Letter Bible, and all I did was click into the word, and it gives the definition and the usage. Then you can read the commentary on it. But it says any first thing from which others belonging to some series or composite whole take their rise, an element first principle. Then it says the letter of the alphabet. I can deal with that. The elements from which all things have come, the material cause that causes the universe, okay? Heavenly bodies, either as parts of the heavenlies or, as others think, because in them the elements of man, life, and destiny were supposed to reside. The elements, rudiments, primary fundamental principles of any art, science, or discipline. And then last but not least, i.e. of mathematics or geometry. So pretty much these are the fundamentals. This is the principle of which everything comes from, okay? That is what an element is. It is a beginning. It is a pre-existence, okay? So that's exactly what we just read. That this is the old and God is going to make new. A new heaven, a new earth, and a new paradise. Okay, it's going to be new. It's going to be restored, regenerated, rejuvenated. It is a lesser, and it's going to be completed and fulfilled in full, okay, after the 1,000-year reign. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my other findings. By the way, the word highlighted is the Greek word stoichian. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. That is a word that's used in Greek for element. And of course, we're going into what Plato's use of this word is, because he's the only person that matters in the science world. So it shows his use of it, when in reality, it was already used as such biblically. Just verifying my findings. So you can go ahead and pause and read. But when people think of elements, they usually think of earth, air, fire, and water. Sometimes they like to add a fifth element, void. But it has to do with the fundamental properties in the simplest form of substance, where it can't break down any further. I find this to be really interesting and exciting because it has to deal with your mind at its simplest form as well. That's a later teaching, but as you can see here, it's an early training or a beginner's training. It actually reminds me of the Bible verse where I believe it was Paul said that we should be all teaching at this point, not learning the fundamentals or the basic principles anymore, that we need to be weaned off of milk before we move on to solids. And that Bible verse is actually used with this same word, stoichian, which we'll take a look at later. Okay, guys, so as you can see here, when you break down the word to the root word, it actually means rufus in Latin, meaning red. Now, I don't know if anyone's done a research on this, but I've been pretty fascinated with this red color, okay, or this meaning. I can't go too deeply into it, but I will show you what I know so far, without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm going to show you how this color is linked to Adam, because it's actually the meaning of his name, denoting the clay or the dust that he came from. It's linked to Jacob and Esau with this red stuff, this porridge sometimes in some translations. All I know is that this color red, it upsets God. That's the pattern I've seen everywhere. But I'm going to show you how Adam, like I said, is the incomplete form of man, or man that has not killed his flesh to walk in the Spirit. And Jesus is the second Adam, the new and improved, and how he's given his Spirit to us through the Holy Spirit, and how we walk by the Spirit, and we do crucify the flesh. Adam is also used as a metaphor for mankind as a whole. I don't want to get too deep into this whole chapter here, but this sentence will suffice. It basically talks about the earthly body versus the heavenly body, the spiritual versus the natural. And it says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. And line 47 says, the first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. So now we're in Strong's Concordance and just getting a more in-depth understanding of this word, element, or stoichion in the Greek. And basically, it says elements of knowledge. It has to do with science. It has to do with the alphabet. Everything intellectual. It has to do with first principles, basic components of philosophy and structure, the rudiments in which mankind were indoctrinated before the time of Christ. You see that before Adam, okay? And it says, i.e. the elements, religious training, or ceremonial precepts common alike to worship of Jews and of Gentiles. And then you see elemental spirits, spiritual powers, or cosmic spirits. And here's the ending. And as ancient astral beings associated with the very beginning makeup of Earth. So there you go. Science has it. The Lord made the heavens and the earth, and it said that he's going to disintegrate it or dissolve it to make it new. Not only is he going to make heaven and earth new, but whatever is going to happen with these celestial bodies in heaven, they're going to be melted. Everything's going to be started over from scratch. And not only that, but our minds will be renewed. Not only that, but our bodies will be renewed. Because in that 1 Corinthians 15, it talks about earthly and heavenly things. And that's where Paul says, I'll tell you a mystery, that in the moment, in a twinkling of the eye, that we will all be changed. So what is Paul talking about? Perhaps he's talking about a whole atmospheric and body change, mental rejuvenation, new body, eternity, okay? Which would make sense. Because what is the first thing in these dreams that everyone's seeing? Hands down. Everyone comes out of their house and they look up. Or they come out of a building and they look up. Or they're in a parking lot and they look up. And they all say people start panicking as they look in the sky. Now I'm just making a guess here. But in Revelation, it says that man will wish that they could die. Perhaps there's going to be a genetic change that's going to take place. Perhaps it will take place simultaneously as we go up. All hell breaks loose on the planet. So now I just broke down the word to its furthest root. And now you can see that it has to do with marching, falling in line, metaphorically, to be led, metaphorically. This is kind of along the lines in the way that it's being used. And it also says to conform to virtue and piety, to walk orderly, to walk with the Lord. So here are some examples in the times that it's been used biblically. I believe this is an ESV version of the Bible. But as you can see here, it's used as a binding law, I would say, as far as elementary principles go of the world. Almost like a law of nature or a law of, or the laws of man, or whatever they try to make it, especially scientifically, because we see that clearly when it comes to science, there is a bias. But that's why I like, if you go down and you see the red highlight, I believe that's Colossians, but I can't really tell because it's shortened. But it says, see to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ. And then under it says, if with Christ you died to the elemental spirits of the world, why, as if you were still alive in the world, do you submit to regulations? Now, of course, we are called to fall under authority because the Lord places authority according to his will. But this is more along the lines of doing things that are unjust, conforming to unjust regulations and rules, such as innocent bloodshed is one of my favorites that I like to bring up, such as abortions and many other unjust things. The Lord said that good would be called evil and evil would be called good in the end of days. And here it's actually used as principles and as heavenly bodies in the ESV translation. Celestial bodies are usually used as, I'm assuming, a metaphor for heaven's armies. I have done many videos on this, 2 or 3 of them, that go into the breakdown of the word celestial and star and things of that nature. And yeah, if you look into Strong's Concordance, it comes up as heavenly bodies or heaven's armies. They were just placed there as a vivid picture of what's been written everywhere. It's been written in our Bibles. It's been written on every form of existence. The Creator created creation. And that's where people get it wrong. They like to worship creation rather than the Creator. And the Creator is the beginning and the end. And that's been made very clear on this word search journey. So I hope you all enjoyed. God bless. And the Lord has control of everything, every law, every situation. My favorite book to go off of as far as knowing how small we are and how big God is the book of Job. The book of Job is definitely an illustration of how big God is and how small we are. When Job does question God, God also comes back with a question. He asked him basically, did you name all the stars? Do you bind the constellation of Orion or loose Pleiades? And he goes down the line of how much power he really is, like that, how much he has and how much he knows, and that we will never fully grasp our Creator. And that's okay, because honestly, if it wasn't for our Creator, like, to think about this, I wouldn't want to know everything that my Creator's thinking, because that would make me equal to Him. So why would I want to be equal to something that is far beyond me? Knowing the mind of the Creator would be equivalent to a bee understanding quantum physics. We don't have the mental capacity. It's just not possible. So give glory, give praise, and give all honor to the Creator who created heaven and earth, you and me, and everything else. He created everything with a purpose and with love. God bless.